Hello lovely people, my name is Emma and today we are going to be chatting about podcasts. Now, this is a book channel. We are on BookTube in this side of the little corner of YouTube, but I really like talking about podcasts on this channel because I think that they're a really great way of sort of filling a void if you don't have the mental space or mental energy for a full audiobook, or if you are newer to non-fiction, with Non-Fiction November literally around the corner, you know, like in 2 to 3 days time kind of thing. I think that they're a really great way of dipping your toe into non-fiction, of finding areas that you then want to go and commit to a full-length book for. And podcasts have been really crucial for me over the past couple of years whilst I've been studying and I've not had the headspace to be able to dedicate to full-length non-fiction books. They've meant that I've been able to keep my hand in for areas that I find interesting and still kind of satisfy that like desire to learn new facts itch that wasn't necessarily being ticked by some of my studies. So today I'm going to talk about 4 or 5, can't remember exactly how many, podcasts I've had on the go fairly non-stop over the past couple of years that I don't think I've mentioned on this channel previously. I do have a few other bits of podcast content which I will link in the various places down below. The first one is for my medically minded but quite morbid nerds out there, and that is This Podcast Will Kill You. This is one of my favourites. I've been listening to it tons. I've gone through so much of their back catalogue, and this is basically each episode is focused on a different thing that can kill people. It does cover mainly a lot of diseases, viral, bacterial, things like that, but it also covers other things like altitude sickness, the bends and sort of nitrous oxide poisoning. It covers things like sepsis, snake bite. It's sort of not just diseases but also other ways that the body can go wrong. It's really interesting because it quite often covers things that affect the animal as well as human world and sort of zoonosis in general. They also have a really long running mini-series about COVID that kind of goes into 19 or 20 episodes in more detail. I've not listened to the majority of those just because I've read other books, so I didn't think it was necessary, but the little bits I've dipped into that sound very well researched. I love the 2 women who run it. One focuses very much on the science, talks about the mechanisms of action, how it impacts the body. Then we get a history lesson from the other lovely woman, and then we get like a what's current in the area now. They also quite often even have like first-hand accounts of people who have experienced these things. So yeah, would 100% recommend the altitude one, the sepsis one. There's one on snake venom, which was so freaking cool. Learned so many different things. And then there's also some great ones on like myxomatosis and sort of other big name diseases that you might know of. Would 100% recommend. Fantastic. They also do a little cocktail at the beginning, which is very fun. I've never got around to making any cocktails, but they always sound fun. So they have a quarantini and a placebo-rita for those of you who are non-alcoholic, and their Instagram account always has these posted as well as other little fun facts. Fantastic. If you are more of a history buff and you're looking for something that is less scientific and more on the history side of things, A Short History of ... is a really fantastic one. The guy's voice is phenomenal. He should definitely narrate audiobooks. It's one of my favourite, just like, normally I'm a fan of podcasts that involve 2 people chatting with each other, which is basically the format of all of these. He is the only one that I listen to that is like pre-written scripts, but his voice is just so soothing that I think it's one of the few that work really well. He also has a series about dictators that Andy, my husband, absolutely loves, and I've like heard little bits of from there as well. And he also has one called Revolutions, which I think I've actually mentioned on this channel before, and is really helpful for getting just like a sweeping history of various different revolutions all across the world. I listened to the Haitian Revolution and also the British Revolution with Cromwell, and both of those were really fascinating, really interesting. So the Short History of is more general. Each one kind of picks a different topic, and he does interview experts in the area. There's occasionally 1 and 2 parters. Would totally recommend. Ones that I've particularly enjoyed from his back catalogue is The Space Race, The Gunpowder Plot, and Chernobyl were all really interesting, but there's definitely absolutely tons, and it really jumps around different areas in history, so well worth a listen. Looping back to some of our medical ones, I've listened to fewer of these, but I do think that they're really interesting, especially if you just don't have like much of a grounding in anatomy and physiology, and that is Dr. Matt and Dr. Mike's Medical Podcast. This is one where, again, they pick different body systems and they go into a lot of detail about basically like how they work and how they can go wrong. I found this really invaluable as a tool of revision for learning about veterinary nursing because I could pick particular areas and have a listen in, but then I definitely would just end up going on a bit of a weird deep dive and having good fun just kind of bouncing around in the different areas, because human medicine often goes into different detail and has different ways that things work to animal medicine, because funnily enough, even though we're mammals, we do different things, and not all animals are mammals anyway. So really good fun. Definitely great if you're not too sure where to start with things like sort of medical books, science books, or history of medicine books, or if something gets mentioned and you're like, I have absolutely no idea how that body system works or what you're even on about. It's a really good one to have a listen to, and works really well in conjunction with This Podcast Will Kill You, because again, if they mention something that you're like, I don't understand that term, what are you on about? These guys have probably got, in the very least, a little like mini episode that you can do a deep dive in and be like, oh, okay, I understand kidneys now, we're all good. So really good fun. And then the final one I wanted to talk about is Ologies with Allie Ward, and this is just the perfect podcast for these polymaths out there like myself who just like are interested in any and all subjects, and just, I'm really here if you are passionate for it. And what she does is basically every week she picks a different topic and talks to an expert in that field about their various ologies. Some of these are like real ologies that have sort of well-defined, regular, known terms. Other ones are a little bit more of a, you're incredibly niche and specialised and you don't have a particular ology, but we're going to make one up. So some of the ones that I would recommend are the geology two-parter, fantastic. Learned so much about rocks, so happy. There was also a really amazing one about millipedes and centipedes. The guy's enthusiasm is incredible and I learned so many cool facts. Do you know there's actually a millipede now that has 1,000 legs? So freaking cool. For ages that was a misnomer, but now they have one. And then also the dolphin one, there's a two-parter about dolphins that is wild. Like, you think that you know about dolphins, but you don't. Believe me, you don't. One of my favourite things about this podcast is you really get to see Allie's enthusiasm, and there's nothing more satisfying than listening to somebody who is so super into learning from somebody else. Like, I really appreciate just enthusiasm for subjects, both from the experts themselves, who clearly just bloody love their fields and are so excited to geek out with somebody and get to talk for a couple of hours, but also Allie's interest in the area. I hate it when you listen to podcasts like Infinite Monkey Cage or You're Dead to Me or ones like that, where the celebrity guest has no real interest in the subject matter and is very much there just to crack jokes about how they're too cool for this. And my favourite thing about Ologies is Allie has none of that energy. She's 100% here, she's 100% up for it. She will learn about millipedes to rocks to everything in between. She is so psyched. Oh, another one I listened to that was fantastic was the one about word puzzles. The guy writes like the crosswords for New York Times and it was freaking amazing. I now know the term for a crossword puzzle where the square, you can have two different letters in it because there's two different answers. That's called a rebus, and I didn't even know until I listened to that podcast. Oh, there's fireworks going on. I didn't even know until I listened to that podcast that you could get crosswords where there were two different slots for an answer, but apparently you can. It's well documented and it's called a rebus. So if you win a pub quiz because of that fact, I deserve part of your prize, and then so does Allie, and so does the expert. So that's pretty much it from me. These are, I think that was 4 podcasts. I'm sure there's probably more, but I will link various things down below because I think all the other ones that I've talked about previously on this channel, but they were very much the 4 that like got me through my studies when revising the same topic over and over again, was causing me to want to like gouge my own eyes out. And I was like, please just give me new facts about weird stuff that no one's going to quiz me on. I just want to learn about crosswords and rocks, help. So yeah, 100% would recommend. If you have recommendations for fun podcasts about weird topics for people who are very excited and have my level of enthusiasm for life in general, please do let me know in the comments down below. And if you've checked out any of these, do let me know any episodes that you particularly enjoyed, because all of them got huge back catalogues and I still have so much to listen to from all of them, and there's not enough time in the world to consume all the content that I want to. So help me narrow down the list of what to listen to. Have a wonderful reading week. Hello to all the new people who found my channel, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye!